Hello and welcome back to the channel with me, the Orienteering Kid, where today we're in Linköping for day 3 of the Swedish Forest Cup. Yes, we are here on the third day of the Swedish Forest Cup, a week organised by Christian Emberg in the forests of Sweden, as the name suggests, and can be completely found on the Tempo Simulator, the link to which is in the description of this video. Now, as I said, Christian Emberg is setting the challenges for this week, with Anna and Cecilia Emberg advising as well as Libor Forst, and it has been a very interesting couple of days to start us off. I have struggled a bit, I'm not afraid to admit that, but as much as it's been challenging, I have really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he has planned for us today, so let's just jump straight in with the Swedish Forest Cup, and we are going for day 3, which today is a 1 to 5,000 map and 2.5 metre contours like yesterday. It is 4 stations with this 60-second penalty which we have been having so far, and a 4 metre no side problems, 0 tolerance. This area was originally mapped at a 1 to 15,000, so there may be some slight discrepancies in the map which we have to look out for, and there is a new cut down area border which is marked with pink lines on the map, so we'll be able to see the boundary quite clearly on the map, but there are going to be some small tracks from foresting which aren't mapped, so not all the things which might look like paths will be mapped as paths, and we'll have to see that as we go through the stations. And as always with these, the pictures are going to be generally 120 degrees, so we've got to make sure that doesn't throw us either. So it's a lot to think about, but I think that should be all right as we go. As always, my answers will be appearing in the top right hand corner of the screen, so you can see exactly what I'm putting, correct or wrong, with the black and red letters at the moment that I put it. And yeah, with that, let's have a go at the third day of the Swedish Forest Cup. And here we go then with station 1. Okay, so there's the hills. Alpha's right at the back there. We want that hill with the bare rock. Can I believe that? That's got the bit of woodland on it, so I can believe that one there. Can those be the boulders? Where's that knoll, if that's the case? Could it be that? That seems to fit quite well. I will go with Charlie. Could it actually be that instead? Crag out the back. I'm going to have to stick with that and say that's a 0. Or no, actually that one was Charlie. I've got it now, I think. I think that one's Alpha out the back. That would put that one as Bravo. Yeah, I can believe that one is Bravo, and that bit of spur is probably Charlie, although can I say it's not? No, I'm going with Charlie again. And that was a very hard station to come in on, I think, with 81 seconds. I've definitely made a couple of errors there, but I think I managed to just about picture it together with the third task. With 3 and 4, I'm pretty sure are Alpha and Bravo, but I'm not really sure with the 5th task either. We're going to have a look at that afterwards. But yeah, that was quite a hard one to start with. We'll have to see whether the rest of the day continues with that, but we'll go on to station 2. Okay, Alpha right in front of us. Don't forget that. There's some things at the back. That could be what we're looking at. The marsh in the middle, that would make sense. Can I really see that boulder? Okay, that's that. Foxtrot's on the boulder, that makes that echo. That hill next to it. I think that's a 0. I think that one's a 0 as well, or have I got this wrong? Oh no, that's Alpha there. Okay, have got some of this wrong. I think that's the crag that between Bravo and Charlie, and I think Bravo's on the top of that crag. And again, I think I might have got the first couple of tasks wrong, but I think I was able to place myself by task 3, and I think I managed to do that a bit quicker. I was looking at a couple of places at the marshes and the hills around it, and I was trying to fit the Echo and Foxtrot kites on the knoll and the boulder, but I think I just about managed to do that. We'll have to see afterwards. As I say, I think the final 3 tasks, however, fitted better with Alpha, the wrong crag between Bravo and Charlie, and then Bravo at the end. So I'm happy with that one more nearer the end again. But yeah, I thought that was another good station, another really tough station, however. But we will go now on to station 3. Okay, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie at the back. Remember Foxtrot right at the back there. The 2 boulders must be those 2. Looking at the angles, that would put Alpha over there. That knoll. I don't think either of them are on the knolls. No, I'm going to stick with that. That hill at the back will be, I believe that one's Bravo, with the other peak being Charlie. That boulder right out there round that hill will be a 0, and that back boulder I think is Echo. And I think that was actually a slightly easier station for station 3. I think that's becoming common throughout the week as we've gone, with station 3 being slightly easier to speed us up ready for a very tough station 4. So I don't quite know what to expect with station 4, but I think if Delta and Echo definitely were on the 2 boulders, although I couldn't quite see the knoll, you then went round the photo and could see that Alpha was on the spur by the other boulder in the left hand side, so I think that fitted, and then we went from there going to the knoll, which I couldn't quite see, but I didn't think any of the controls were on it, and then also a boulder right to the right hand side of the photo. So yeah, I don't think that was too bad a station at all. And so we will go on to the final station of the day, station 4. Okay, load of contours. That re-entrant I think is probably Bravo. That fits. That bit out the back, that's Echo or nothing. I think that is probably Echo. That side is Alpha. Middle is a 0, and that crag out the bear is Foxtrot, and that was actually, to me, a very easy station to finish off there. You can see that was about half the time of any other station, even a quarter of the time of the first station, so I think that was quite a nice one to end off on. Let's have a look at the stations though, and this one I was struggling to get for quite a while, because I think I was trying to fit these 2 boulders in. I could believe that maybe Charlie and Delta might be on this hill, because I saw the bare rock and the woodland and thought that maybe this is coming on some of the woodland. However, I think now I can see that with the shape of this hill coming out here with the spur on it, I think it is this hill here, and so you then have Bravo on a knoll near the back, probably this knoll, and then Alpha on a crag right out over there. And so when coming round here, we're going with Echo or Foxtrot, and I think Echo is probably on that massive boulder, because you then have the small hill of the form line next to it, and then we actually want this hill over here, so I think that one is Foxtrot now rather than Charlie. That was a very tough task to come in on though, and if you were still trying to read the terrain, and it really required spotting this hill, so if you managed to spot that, very well done. We then came to this part of the hill though, and I can now see that this is probably going to be Delta, but in answering the first task as Charlie, I was thinking it was probably over here, so a 0, but I can see now that with that shape of that hill it will actually be Delta. And then this was the point that I realised that I was wrong for the first 2 tasks, and I think this one is now definitely Alpha off to the left hand side. You can see the contour of the hill with the crag, and Alpha does seem to be at the bottom of that crag. So that one is Alpha. We then go to a knoll, and I think this one is far enough back to be Bravo out of these 2 knolls, because if you look at the shape of the contour here, this bit that comes out will be in line with the first knoll, so probably one of these bits over here, although they are quite small, and then Bravo will be on the one back from it. So I think that one is Bravo now, although it may be be a 0, it may be the wrong null. That's possibly just the wide angle lens making it look further back, we'll have to see. And then we come out onto this spur, so I think this one is definitely Charlie now on the side of the hill, and I think I did manage to place myself, but only after the first 2 tasks, which you can see did take me 48 seconds, which is a long time, being more than half my station time, but I think it was required to try and place myself properly. Not that I managed to do that, but yeah, I think I can clearly see now that that station does work quite nicely, and I'm happy with that one. And then we come to station 2, and I think again I misplaced this one. One thing you can clearly see here is the area that Alpha is on looks like it's some bare rock, and I think now that is this bare rock down here with the form line of the hill. You can see it does go up, and there is probably a crag round there with Alpha, so I'm happy with Alpha being there. You would then have the hill Echo is on being this hill just here, and that also seems to fit, although I'm now struggling to see where Bravo and Charlie would be. Looking at it now, I think Delta's actually out the back there on this one, and maybe Bravo and Charlie are on this contour here. So I've possibly got this one very wrong, as I didn't really spot that much of it at all. I think I thought that Bravo and Charlie were over these. So let's go through this one properly. We have this ring contour of what I think Bravo and Charlie must be on, although actually we're going for a small hill. So maybe this one is Bravo, because it does seem to break away from this circular bit with Charlie. So I think this one is now Bravo. I can see why I thought it was Echo, because it's on a hill. Foxtrot could be on the boulder, and this could be a small re-entrant coming through here. But yeah, I am thinking that that one now is Bravo, because that seems to fit with where Alpha is, and I think this is again due to the wide angle lens, which makes it look like it should be to the left hand side of Alpha. We then come out to this side, and I'm pretty happy with this one being a 0, but not for the reasons that I put it. I thought with Echo being this hill here, it was going to be miles to the right hand side. It actually turns out that Echo is here and Foxtrot is on this knoll, so we actually still want a hill to the right hand side of Echo and Foxtrot, but we actually want this hill here, not one wildly out of the photo. So I'm happy with that one being a 0, and this possibly might be the only one I got right in this station. But yeah, that one is a 0. And then we come forward, and I have actually got this one right as well, as I think I thought I realised where we were a bit better. And we have the yellow of Bare Rock as we've described before, with the corner of the crag being Alpha. So I think that one is Alpha. And then we go back over here, and I zeroed it because I thought I wanted it over there between Bravo and Charlie. But I think now, looking at where Alpha is and then where Echo is, we then go through, and we want the crag just behind Echo, and so I think this one should actually be Delta right at the back, and so this is another mistake, but it is now clearly Delta. And then we come forward, and I did put Bravo thinking I was coming forward from there, but this one is now Echo. If we're coming forward from this one, with the knoll back here as well, with Foxtrot, I think that one does match up to be Echo. So that is another 3 mistakes from me from that station. We're now on 5 mistakes, I think. So this isn't looking like a good day for me at all, but I'm not really surprised. It is very tough. We then come to station 3, and I think I managed to get this one a bit better. What I did spot were the 2 boulder looking things with Delta and Echo, and I think these are the 2 boulders here. What I was struggling to spot was the knoll, so one of them may actually be a knoll, but I'm pretty sure they are 2 boulders with this hill behind Echo being the one with all the bare rock on it. That does seem to fit quite well. And then in looking at that, we go left, and we see that there is a boulder over here, and that I believe is the boulder just here. And then in knowing that we've got a wide angle photo, we know that this angle is only about 60 degrees, and that is probably about 60 degrees around the photo. And we go up to the top of the hill, and we want the western part, which is the right hand side with north going downwards, and that does seem to be what Alpha is on. So I'm confident with that one being Alpha. And then we come out to the knoll, and this may easily be a mistake, but I think with the line that Delta and Echo seem to be on, I'm very happy to say that those 2 are both on boulders. I just can't really see the knoll, so that may actually be Delta or Echo, but I'm going to stick with the 0 with those 2 being on the boulders. And then we go up to the top of the hill with the bare rock, and I'm looking at this now and thinking it might actually be Charlie, because you can see that the contour does come round out the front. That's where it goes round, and we want the northwestern end of the hill, which will be the right hand side again. And I put Bravo thinking it was just going to be on that one hill and Charlie was on the next hill along, but actually I think that is now one continuous hill, and so I think this one is Charlie on the correct end of that hill. That is a good task, I just didn't read the terrain properly, and that is another learning point for me. So I am now happy with that one being Charlie. And then we go out to a boulder to the right hand side, and and I'm pretty sure this one is a 0, as it's going to be a long way to the right of Echo, and Foxtrot is just really a long way back. I think it's probably at the foot of the spur, just at the edge of the circle here, and I think this boulder is going to be a long way out here. Maybe it's that at the back, but I'm very happy with that one being a 0. And then we come to the two boulders which I'm pretty sure Delta and Echo are on, and we want the furthest one back from us. So I am fairly happy that that one is Echo, but again, one of them might actually be on a knoll, and I may have got that one and 32 wrong. We will have to see afterwards, but I'm definitely happier with that. I thought that was again another tough but very interesting station. And then we come to what I think was probably the easiest station for me today. What I saw here was quite a few dips in the ground, so I knew that we would sort of have 3 hills in a line running horizontally across the map. And I also saw that Bravo was in some sort of re-entrant. So when the map came up and we have 3 hills in a line and a sort of re-entrant here with a spur coming out, I was very happy to say that that one is Bravo pretty quickly, because it's in a re-entrant and it does seem to fit the rest of the problem. So I was happy with that one being Bravo. We then go out to the 3rd hill back. It's quite a long hill, and in placing this one I managed to place Foxtrot on this hill with the crag with the quite sharp corner in, and Foxtrot is right in that corner. So by doing that we come down the crag to the hill along from it, and that does seem to be where Echo is. I did think that Echo was a bit far in to potentially be this, but the centre of the circle isn't right at the end of the hill, it is a small bit in, so I am happy with that one being Echo. And then we come out to the spur by the re-entrant of Bravo, and it's right next to the re-entrant of Bravo, so it must be Alpha as the only kite right next to Bravo. And then we go to the middle hill, and I think looking at it, Charlie is going to be on the 3rd hill away from us, and Delta is pretty clearly on the 1st hill away from us, and we want the 2nd one. So it's going to be about here, right between Charlie and Delta, so is definitely a 0. And then we go out to the hill with the quite sharp corner in the crag that we have already talked about, and so I'm very happy with that one being Foxtrot. And I think after all that really tough day, I have ended on a quick station of 19 seconds with no mistakes, and I think that's definitely a good way to end this event. I'm very happy with that. Overall, it was another very tough day. It's not going to be quite as slow for me as Saturday, with 6 errors putting me at 563 seconds. That is slow. I'm expecting to be quite low on the leaderboard today, so let's go and have a look at where I am, and I am in 167th, so that's not quite as low as when I did it last time. However, I am slightly earlier than when I did it last time, so I'm probably going to drop a small bit. We've only got a couple of hours left, so we will have to see what happens with that, but I will join you again in a few hours for the overall results. And we are back, and you can see that I have dropped a bit further than I thought I would. I'm now down in 209th, which is my lowest position of the 3 days so far, and it's definitely my lowest score of the 3 days so far, and my slowest time. So I definitely found this day the hardest of the 3 by the looks of it. I have made 8 errors, not 6 like I previously thought I had, so we will have to have a look at those in a bit more detail. Firstly, it is well done to Alessio for winning today's event by 4 seconds. There seems to be really only 3 that made no errors today, so very well done to the 3 of you who managed to do that. In terms of where Alessio won the event though, it does seem to be that station 2 trips the most people up in terms of errors, but also Alessio was very consistent across the stations. He slowed up for station 2, and that's probably why he made no errors there. But yeah, that was a very good run, so well done to him. Let's have a look at the station percentages then, and with station 1, it's looking like this first task might be the worst answered here, and I think I definitely got this one wrong as I didn't really know where we were. And we're down at 11%, with only 91 people realising it was Foxtrot. 300 thought it was a 0, and 151 thought it was Charlie, and 106 as well for Delta. That's a very low percentage when the correct answer has less people than 3 other options. This was probably the hardest task of the day, and I think opening with this task was very tough, so well done if you were one of the 91 that managed to get that right. And the percentages don't really go above 50% apart from this third task, which was very well answered. I think most of you managed to realise that was Alpha, but still people didn't really seem to know where they were again for the second task, with only a third of you going with Delta and slightly less of you going with 0. That is what I put. I was sticking to where I was. I still didn't really have a good fit of the map, but yeah, this was definitely a very hard station by the looks of things, and also this third task. Slightly more went with Bravo, which is what I put, and I definitely thought afterwards it was Bravo, but it turns out it was actually a 0 with 323 going with that. So it does seem like this station was a very hard station to start with, so if you manage to get some of them right, or even just one of them right, I think you have done really well with that. And then we go on to station 2, and again there's already a lot of red here, and the first task does seem to be the worst answered. Let's see what the percentages are, and we're down at 11% again, but even less of you. It's 87 people this time rather than 91 managed to spot it was Bravo, and I think it's clear that Echo and 0 were really the common wrong answers here. Slightly more going with 0. I think I went with Echo because to me it seemed to fit with the re-entrant, but I did clearly see afterwards that that was a 0, and I think I did notice all my mistakes in this station. With the second one, me getting fairly lucky that it was a 0, but most people seem to know where we were there, as there were quite a few Echoes and Foxtrots. All the percentages here only just go above 50% though, with the final 3 tasks being in the lower 50% range, and a similar amount of people getting all those right. I think they were very hard. I got the last 2 of these wrong, so we will have to have a look at them, but the percentages are very low, so maybe this was a much harder day than previously. And then we go to station 3, and this one is actually looking a bit greener, although there is still a fair bit of red. Maybe the second and third tasks will be the worst, and there are only 2 tasks below 50% here, so I think this is a much better answered station, with it being the second and third tasks. The second task was Delta, but one less person put a 0. Afterwards I did think this was a 0 with Delta and Echo being on the 2 boulders rather than the null, but it does seem like this was actually Delta on the null, and the boulder that I thought had Delta on it was actually off to the right hand side, so we will have to have another look at that to see if we can spot that boulder. And also the third task was definitely between Bravo and Charlie, and it does seem like more of you went for Charlie than Bravo. I went with Bravo, but I did clearly see my mistake afterwards, so I don't think that one was too bad. And really, for the percentages for today, 60 and 70% is very high, so well done for getting those right. I think they were actually fairly well answered, and I'm really expecting this 4th station to be the best answered, and looking at it, it's still looking very green. I think maybe this 4th task might be the worst answered, but I think this one was the 0, and it was, but all the percentages here are above 50%. This 4th task was 277 going with Charlie, but 428 realised it was a 0. Not many went with Delta. I thought that was the other clear wrong answer here, but to me it was clearly on the hill with no controls on it, so that one did look better as a 0 for me. And the 260% I don't think are too bad at all, so we will have a brief look at them, but I think this was definitely the most well answered station of today, so very well done if you managed to get those right. Let's now go and have a look at some of these harder stations as well as my mistakes. And with station 1 I made 3 errors at the start, and I think this first task was only 11% getting it right, and I think this was very hard to spot, especially with Foxtrot just being on a hill. The key to this one was spotting the boulder of Echo, but again I think that was quite hard to notice. Bravo could easily have been on a boulder over there, and so this could have been the hill, and there could have been some crags over there with Alpha, so I think this hill definitely fits as being that scenario and really distracts you from the correct answer. But I think it is clearer now that with the boulder there we're going to the right hand side of that boulder with Foxtrot, so well done to the 11% of you who managed to spot that. And then most of you carried on with your mistakes coming to here, thinking that this one was going to be to the left hand side of this hill and so would be a 0, but slightly more managed to notice the shape of the hill here, and so that one is Delta, so well done if you spotted that. Most people managed to spot the crag, however it was then when we came to the null that quite a lot of people put Bravo, including me, because I thought that Bravo looked far enough back to be the back null, but it does seem now it's on the front null, and I think this is the 120-degree photo throwing you off a bit here, which we do have to be careful of. He has warned us about it, but really looking at it, there aren't any more bumps in front of Bravo over here, so really that shows us that is the front null, and so not the back null which we want, which is probably what's poking up behind Charlie there. So that one is definitely a 0 rather than Bravo now, but well done if you managed to spot that. I think this was a very hard station shown in the percentages. I think most were today, so just getting a couple of those right was very good going. And then we come to station 2, and I think we noticed the 3 mistakes as we went through afterwards. This was another 11%er with there being 2 today, and I think what probably caused it was this dip in the bare rock, which isn't on the map over here, although there is the form line of the console for the hill, so maybe that does show it. And so I think quite a lot of people like me thought that there was a re-entrant here, and is probably that there, which puts Echo on the form line with Foxtrot on the boulder and does seem to fit. So there were quite a lot that went for Echo, but it is slightly clearer now that Bravo is on a small hill with this curved hill of Charlie next to it. So I think that one is probably clearer as Bravo now. If you managed to spot the crag as well with Alpha on it, that would have pointed it out a lot clearer. Still quite a few people managed to get this 0 though. I think I got it by luck though, because if you think Echo's here, it's going to be miles off to the right hand side. But even with Echo being there and the null with Foxtrot, as we've said before, that will be a 0. And then many people managed to spot Alpha on the crag, and you then managed to work out the final 2 tasks from that. I just completely misread the map. Even while knowing Alpha was there, I should have spotted that Delta was on that one, and then we came to Echo at the end. But that's what happens. I'm still smiling, I'm still having fun, and that's all that really matters at this point. But yeah, that was another very hard station, so if you managed to get a few of those right again, very well done. And then this third station was a lot better answered than the previous 2. It was just tasks 2 and 3, and really for me, looking at the angle of the boulders and the knoll, I thought there was no way that Delta could be on the knoll. But it does seem like with these wide angle photos, it is actually on the knoll. And so there is a boulder over here somewhere. It's probably slightly out the photo actually, as you can see this hill, and then we want it to be to the northern side of this hill. So that is looking a bit clearer now as Delta, once you spot that we are stood on top of the hill and we won't be able to see the boulder. But I'm not surprised quite a lot of you got fooled by that. I think that was a very hard task, and more of you managed to put Charlie here than Bravo, and I am kicking myself because I think I should have seen that where Bravo is, it does go down, so he's going to be on the other end of that hill. And so in knowing that, then Charlie is going to be on the correct end of that hill, and so is Charlie. That is another very good task though. I have enjoyed it afterwards, even though I got it wrong, so I have no problems with that at all. And I think this was an easier station. I was quite thankful we didn't have to use Foxtrot, as that is quite a long way out the back and on this crag over here. So that would have been a very interesting task, but I think that would have been a very, very cruel task. So I'm glad he didn't use it at all. And then finally we come to this station, and I think this was the best answered out of all of them. Many people spotted the re-entrant, and quite a few managed to spot that Echo was in the right place, although there were a fair few that zeroed it. But I think using the 4 meter tolerance is going to be about there. Many people managed to spot this spur as well, and then this was actually the worst answered, and I'm surprised more people went with Charlie than Delta, because I think looking at the line of them, Delta is on the same line as this hill, so he's going there, and Charlie is further round. So I think for me, Delta was the clearer wrong answer, but it was definitely in the middle hill. So maybe you'd seen that these hills merged a bit and thought that it was actually Charlie, and there was a third hill behind it. But I think it is clear here at least that there is a boundary between the 2 hills, and there are 3 hills that we can see. So that one was a clearer 0. And then many of you managed to notice Foxtrot on the end. I know the angle looks a bit different, but it is a wide angle photo again. So yeah, that was a very nice station to round off a very difficult day. But I think it was a good day. I have really enjoyed it, and it has been good to be challenged again. It's not often that I have made 8 mistakes in a day, but I can clearly see now the actual answers they should be, and I am very happy with them. Let's go and have a look now and see what this day has done to the overall results. And you can see that I am down exactly in 100th place after 3 days. I'm not very disappointed with that at all. I have had 2 fairly bad days compared to my normal scores, so really being in the top 100 I'm very happy with. We will have to see how the rest of it plays out. In terms of the individuals though, we have Severin currently in the lead after winning yesterday and coming second today, but Alessio has managed to close the gap to 0.2 points, so it is very close at the top. Just under a point behind Alessio is Tobias, and then we have Juha and Antti still close to them, so we will have to follow this through the next 6 days and see what happens there. In terms of the clubs, we have Massey retaining their first place with another first place today in terms of the clubs, and they are now 30 points ahead of LS37, who came 11th today in terms of the clubs. Turin have managed to catch up and are now only 3 points behind LS37, and MTV Season only about 2 points behind them. So it is definitely getting close for second and third place, but I think Massey have already started to run away with this, as they always seem to do. But I think it is clear that the Finns are probably going to win this, with them winning all 3 days so far, and are 35 points ahead of the Italians. So it does look like the Finns are starting to make a gap that isn't going to be reachable by the Italians, so we will have to see how that plays out. And the Swedes are about 20 points behind the Italians, so it looks like the Finns and the Italians are probably securing their first and second places already, but anything can happen. And the Germans are 25 points behind the Swedes, so we are starting to see a sort of divide between the countries, and maybe that will hold. We will have to see over the next 6 days. But yeah, that's 3 days down. We're a third of the way through, and I'm excited to see exactly what Christian has got in store for us tomorrow. But that is the end of today's video. Thank you again for watching these. If you would like to like the video and also subscribe to the channel, it just helps me out, and also make sure you get notified whenever I release a video. Although again, if you're not getting those notifications, you might just need to hit the bell next to the subscribe button and select all. And also remember to share these videos. We're still going to try and get 1,000 people at some point on the simulator. I appreciate these events are very hard, so may not be the best events for people starting out, but if you just get them on the simulator and get them running through some of the practice events, they can be ready for the Taurus when it comes back at the end of this month. And also, as always, remember to comment down below anything you think I've missed from the video, analytic wise, or things you just want me to add. And I will see you again tomorrow for day 4 of the Swedish Forest Cup.